Hi, it's Isabel, and this is going to be a very casual video. That's also why I'm in my reading chair instead of in front of my shelves where I usually am. I have recently realized that I have quite a few books out from my library as ebooks, and I fear that I won't get the chance to get to all of them, at least not this month. So I thought it might be a good idea to kind of give them all a try and see which ones I want to prioritize, that I might want to try and fit in this month, which ones that I might give back and get another time, and which ones I maybe can scratch from my TBR completely because maybe I don't like the beginning and lose interest in them. So yeah, what I will do is read the first chapter, or if there aren't any chapters, just like the first part of each of the books, and then decide what I will do and which ones I still want to read. All of the books are quite recent releases, so I thought it might be interesting for you as well to kind of hear my initial thoughts about the books. So let me quickly put away my tea and instead get out my iPad so that I can tell you what books that I will try for this video. So I have, I think, 6 books that I have on hold or out from the library, and they are Migrations by Charlotte McConaghy, which, as far as I understood, is a book that follows a woman who's following a flock of birds that migrate south, but they are, I think, the last few of the species, so it has to do with climate change and extinction, I think. I'm actually not sure if it's set in the future or now. I'll have to check, or maybe I will find out once I read the first chapter. But that's the first one that I have on my list. Then I have Axiom's End by Lindsay Ellis. I was initially interested in this one because I've watched quite a few of Lindsay Ellis's videos on YouTube. She does like video essays and also like other bookish things. I will link her channel and also the other channels that she's a part of below because I really enjoy her content. So if you enjoy bookish things, I think you will enjoy what she does as well. So yeah, that's what initially got me interested in her book, because I think it's her debut novel. As far as I understood it, it is a sci-fi, and I think it is a sci-fi first contact with aliens type of novel, which I haven't read many of, so I want to give that one a try. Then the next one on my list is The Death of Vivek Oji by Akwaeke Emezi, and this one, again, I was interested in because of the author. I've read 2 of Akwaeke Emezi's books before. I've read, what was it called? Freshwater and Pet. Both of them had really interesting themes that they talked about. For example, in Pet, the protagonist was a transgender character, and in Freshwater we followed a protagonist that had kind of a split personality because of some trauma. So that was really fascinating to read and something that I hadn't seen done in this way before in a book. Yeah, that's why I was interested in reading The Death of Vivek Oji, and I didn't even like read more about it, but I'm sure that it's gonna have really interesting themes and topics that it talks about. Then another book that I was interested in because I read another of the author's books is Drowned Country by Emily Tesh. This is the sequel or companion novel to Silver in the Wood, which I read last month or the month before, and it's a really short novella, and I didn't love Silver in the Wood. I don't know, I think I loved the premise more than the execution, but I think Drowned Country is also kind of set in this wood where kind of spirits and monsters of folklore and fairy tale are still around, and it's very mythical, but not in a kind of cheesy way. So that's why I'm interested in reading Drowned Country. So that was 4 books. Those are the 4 that I currently have out from the library. And I also have 2 on hold that are recent releases and have also kind of been talked about lately. So one of them is The Discomfort of Evening, that just won the International Man Booker Prize. And this one is translated, and it is translated from, I think, Dutch. So this one has actually been out for a while now, but it's only recently been translated into English. I, again, don't know too much about it because, I don't know, I don't really like reading synopses because sometimes they give away too much or they kind of skew the picture of the book. But as I've gathered from like other reviews and what I've heard about the book, this one has a female protagonist that is kind of off and has, I think, some strange ideas and kind of her actions and opinions, I think, lead to a catastrophe, a small catastrophe, something like that, in the family. And I always love reading about kind of strange female protagonists that don't quite fit into society. That's also why I recently loved A Summer of Drowning, or I also like that about We Have Always Lived in the Castle and Convenience Store Woman. So I'm hoping to get kind of similar vibes from The Discomfort of Evening. And lastly, I also have Catherine House by Elizabeth Thomas on my hold list, and this one has been talked about a lot on BookTube recently, and I've actually heard very mixed things about it. There were quite a few people who felt like it was too confusing or like just didn't really like the execution. So this one is kind of a dark academia book, I think, with like a prestigious school and I think kind of a group of friends and things going wrong and stuff. I'm not sure if it has supernatural elements, but it certainly has that kind of dark academia vibe. And since it's September and Halloween season is kind of around the corner, I am looking for some more kind of spooky reads, so I will give it a try. I'm really apprehensive about it though, because of the things that I've heard, but I hope that I can judge for myself from the first chapter if I will be interested or not. So yeah, that's the plan. I will go and read the first chapter of each of these and let you know what I think as soon as I've done that. I now read the first chapter of Migrations, and I feel like this book could go either way. Either I will really enjoy it because of the themes and topics that it talks about, or I might just find it very boring. The reason why I say that is because in the first chapter we follow a woman who I think is currently in Greenland, and she is trying to get on a boat that will get her south so that she can follow the kind of trail that the birds going south would also take. So far it has strong comments about kind of animal extinction. I think it'll also talk about climate change, as I said. Also, I think loneliness is a big theme in here because apparently she has a husband, at least she's writing letters to her husband, but he's not with her. So I feel like she is also a very interesting character that kind of isolates herself from the world. And there were some different things that were kind of mentioned that kind of made me want to continue reading, because they were like not very cleared up, and I kind of didn't quite know what some things were referencing, and I think that these things would be explained more throughout the book. But there certainly is some suspense, but also not a huge amount. But I think that's also kind of the point of the book. I think this will be more of a calm character study with, as I said, some themes of climate change and extinction sprinkled in. And yeah, so I do quite like the themes it talks about. The character, the protagonist, is kind of interesting, but I'm not 100% convinced if I would enjoy it. So I would kind of like to read a bit further, but I don't think that this will be my top priority. But we'll see. So I'm gonna continue with the next book, and I think I will try Drowned Country next. I am back again after having read a few pages of Drowned Country. It doesn't really have chapters as far as I can tell. The book is just split into 2 parts because it's only like 100 or maybe 150 pages long, because it's also a novella. So I just read to like a natural break in the text, and at first I wasn't sure if I wanted to read another story set in this kind of forest with fairy type figures, but like dark fairy type figures again so soon after having read Silver in the Wood. But then it mentioned vampires, and I do love vampires if they're well done, not the sparkly type. It said something about kind of ancient vampire figures that kind of some of the characters in the book are trying to stop. So that sort of sparked my interest. So yeah, I think currently my priority list is first Drowned Country and then Migrations. I think I'll try a chapter of The Death of Vivek Oji next. Just to check in, the first sentence of The Death of Vivek Oji is literally just one sentence. It is, "They burned down the market on the day Vivek Oji died." That's intriguing. I'm gonna read chapter 2 as well. I think that's a bit longer than just one sentence. Also read chapter 2 of The Death of Vivek Oji, and that was a normal amount long, and as far as I understand, it is about a family, and they have a son who dies, I think in his 20s already. Just one day the mother finds him wrapped in fabric on her doorstep, dead. Akwaeke Emezi just has a way of writing that is very beautiful but very readable at the same time, that I really enjoy. Chapter 2 started off with saying that if this story were a stack of pictures, the first picture would be of Vivek Oji's father, and this metaphor of the pictures kind of went through the whole chapter, and this is just the kind of writing that Akwaeke Emezi does, and I really enjoy it, and I am really intrigued to continue reading this, and I think this is also one that I will just enjoy for the writing style as well as the story, though the story does sound very heartbreaking. How would I rank it in terms of how much I want to read it compared to the other two? I think I would say Drowned Country is still on number one. Also maybe because I know that this is just a very short one, and I do like reading novellas because they go by more quickly, and I do kind of feel like reading something a bit creepy, spooky at the moment. So yeah, I think because it is a novella containing vampires, Drowned Country is still the top spot. I will put The Death of Vivek Ochi in second place, and then Migrations. But there hasn't been one that I was completely put off by yet. But I think there also wasn't one that I just desperately wanted to continue reading, so maybe that'll change with the next one. I think the next one that I will read is the last one that I have currently out before I get to the ones that I have on hold, and that is Axiom's End by Lindsay Ellis. Another first chapter down, I just read the beginning of Axiom's End and I really liked it. So the book starts out with a document that is kind of made out to be a leaked internal memo with like blacked out names and everything, and it then turns out that the protagonist's father owns like a website that leaks secret federal documents, I guess you could say, and from that document I'm gathering that the book has kind of to do with, as I said, first contact with aliens and language, which I love. I'm always interested in books talking about language, and it kind of reminds me of the short story Arrival by Ted Chiang, where like the main focus was kind of trying to understand an alien language. And if the book goes in that direction, I'm very excited to read it. And also the rest of it was kind of mixed media, like not in the sense that it had pictures, but it had like the normal text, but then also internet articles and yeah, things like that. So it was really fun to read. I think at the moment I'm the most excited to read this one. So yeah, I will rearrange my list because now we have Axiom's End at the top, and then we have Drowned Country, The Death of Vivek Ochi, and Migrations at the moment. So that's exciting, and Axiom's End is actually the first one that I really feel like I could just continue reading it right now. So let's see what I think about the other two that are still remaining. Now also read the first chapter of The Discomfort of Evening, and I really like the writing style and the tone that it is going for. I don't quite know what it's about yet. I think the synopsis said something about a tragic event happening and that then like spiraling and getting darker and darker. But so far in the first chapter, nothing has really happened yet. We just got to know the family in the book, and we are in kind of in the main protagonist's head, and she is a 10-year-old girl, and she has a few siblings, and her family seems to be very religious, and I think they are living on a farm. So that is quite an interesting setting, and I also, as I said, like the tone of the book, but the first chapter alone didn't really hook me yet. So just going from the first chapter alone, I think I would order it compared to the others in 4th place. Did I like it more or less than the first chapter of The Death of Vivek Orji? I think they have kind of a similar kind of family and a tragedy happens plot or feel to it. But The Death of Vivek Orji, I liked the writing style better. So yeah, I will put it after The Death of Vivek Orji. So I think the current ranking is Axioms and Drowning Country, or Drowned Country? I'm never sure whether it's Drowning or Drowned Country. I think it's Drowned Country. You will know because you've seen it all this video long. And then in 3rd place, The Death of Vivek Orji, then The Discomfort of Evening, and currently at the bottom we have Migrations. So let's see, I will read the first chapter of Catherine House and then see how that might change my ranking. Catherine House has chapters, or maybe very long ones. I don't quite know because I only got the sample from the library, but anyway, I just read kind of the first few pages and a few of they have little stars to separate the text, and I read the first few of those, and I have to say it just didn't really draw me in so far. So we're following this female protagonist who has just moved into this kind of university that also has very strong cult vibes. And to me, she just feels like the typical dark academia protagonist. She very much reminded me of the protagonist from Ninth House, and I felt rather meh about Ninth House, so maybe that's kind of influencing my opinion of Catherine House. But yeah, I just don't want to read a meh book, and from these first parts that I read, that's kind of the vibe that I'm getting from Catherine House. I just fear that it is a book that I wouldn't hate, but that I would probably give 3 stars to, and that's such a frustrating experience to me. Because that means that, yeah, I read the book, but there was nothing special about it. And I don't know, maybe I'm also tiny bit influenced by the fact that I heard a lot of kind of negative or meh reviews for Catherine House. And the first kind of part didn't do anything for me to kind of make me think, no, I will really love this one. So yeah, I think Catherine House will land at the very bottom of my ranking. Not what I expected, because I do really enjoy dark academia, but it's just, I don't know. I already don't like the protagonist. She's kind of annoying me already, so I don't really want to follow her for another 300 or 400 pages. That means that this, I will put it on the screen, is my current ranking. As I said in the beginning, I wanted to see kind of which books that I want to prioritize and try and fit in maybe this month, maybe next month, which ones that I will just return for now and re-borrow probably at a later point, and which ones that I kind of lost interest in. And I think what I'll do is just do it in groups of 2. So I have decided that Catherine House and Migrations I'm actually not that interested in after reading the first chapter. I mean, Migrations more so than Catherine House, but for now I will put it in the category of I'm not sure that I will ever re-borrow it. Maybe those are just some of the books that I won't read, because there's only limited time and there's an unlimited number of books that I want to read apparently, so we have to be selective here. So yeah, those two I will group as probably won't read, And then the next two are The Discomfort of Evening and The Death of Vivek Orji. And those two I will return for now, but I will probably reborrow them at a later point in time, because they do intrigue me and I do kind of want to read them, but I'm not sure if I'm in the mood for them right now, and they didn't have openings that convinced me that I need to read them right now. And then at the top we have Axiom's End and Drowned Country, and I really want to try and fit those in before I have to return them, or maybe I can reborrow them soon. Anyway, those are the ones that I really want to try and read as soon as possible. I'm not quite sure if they fit into this month's TBR, but we'll see. So yeah, that's it for my kind of try a chapter type thing with these recent releases. If you have read any of these and have opinions about them, do let me know in the comments. You might be able to convince me to give Catherine House or Migrations another go, or you can also tell me if one of the ones that I put on my want to read soonish list aren't really that good. I'm curious to hear your opinions about all of these books. Either way, I think this was kind of a fun experiment to do and a good way to kind of make my TBR a bit smaller. And I might do it again the next time that I go crazy and borrow all the books from the library without having time to actually read them all. But that's it for today. Thank you so much for watching, and I will hopefully see you in my next video. Bye!